Hello everyone and welcome to the Smashi Business Show. Today is Friday, August 1st. We finally entered Q3 2025. I'm Abdul Majid Awan.
And I'm Ward Ahmed, and we've got a packed show for you today. So first up, we will be discussing how Mostafa Amin-Led Breadfast has hit a $382 million valuation as investor stake nearly doubles. And secondly, Roberto Cavalli is not for sale, Damac Group has confirmed, and Anghami is planning to reverse a stock split to stay on Nasdaq. And finally, the U.S. Senate rejects efforts to block Israel arms sales amid the ongoing genocide in Gaza.
And a very good story coming out of our neighbors, Egypt, one of the fastest growing startup scenes in the world, in the Middle East, to be honest. So Egypt's quick commerce startup, Breadfast, is, I don't know how to pronounce it. First of all, it's Breadfast. Breadfast, it's a play on breakfast.
I think it was a play on breakfast, for sure.
I love it. I love name plays. So yeah, Breadfast is making waves. Swedish investor VNV Global says its 7.9% stake nearly doubled from 16 million nearly in 2021 to 30 million in 2025. Just 4 years and they've doubled their money. Very nice scheme. Valuing Breadfast at about $382 million.
So Breadfast runs over 30 fulfillment centers in Cairo, Alexandria, and more. Now its vertical model controls supply and delivery, serving 300,000 plus monthly users with close to 1 million orders each month.
And despite Egypt's tough economy, Breadfast hit $150 million in annual recurring revenue last year in 2024. This growth contrasts with other African startups and North African, especially startups like Kenya's Wasoko and Egypt's Visita, which are facing valuation drops or stagnation.
Now, CEO Mostafa Amin says owning the supply chain was key. Breadfast also launched Breadfast Pay, a fintech service offering payments and savings tools, targeting Egypt's underbanked population to boost loyalty.
And with plans to expand further, Breadfast's strong retention and disciplined operations position it well in a challenging market.
So while many African startups struggle, Breadfast is a standout success, redefining growth potential in emerging markets. I think that this entire story, it's so big because of the fact that, okay, fine, maybe they deliver things to people in under 60 minutes. You know, it's not like noon minutes, talabat, Kareem, but in the end of the day, in a market like Egypt, for a startup like that to stand out like that, for their valuation to double in just a year. And then you have the Swedish company that has a 7% stake, and their stake, its value goes from $60 million to $30 million. I think it's very clear here that they're leading the charge. They're going to one day become the talabat of Egypt. They certainly are.
And it's fresh grocery deliveries, what I read about it. So I think it's very important because I remember whenever you order here, let's give our example.
Yeah.
If you order, you'll get bread. I've had problems with 1 or 2 services. I use one a lot, but others I try also sometimes. Usually, the guy who picks up the bread, like we go to a grocery store, we look at the manufacturing and expiry date, right? And breads usually have like a week. So usually you get a bread which is like 2 days old either or is expiring in 24 to 48 hours. I think with them, they're looking at their USP is bringing everything fresh. And I think all the people that they have under their startup, it's good. Bakery production, fresh breads made every day, like Bake My Day cookies, always fresh, always hot. I think with them also, that is the USP, and that people love that. I think.
You know what it is
warm,
with them
fresh
too?
bread in the morning.
I think that's really nice. I think you know what it is with them too. I think that I'm very much in love with the fact that they've stuck to the Egyptian market. I think what has often happened with some of these Egyptian companies is because they are expanding too quickly and too fast. They, you know, the rise is just as quick as the fall. We saw this with Swivel. You know, the fact that they were a unicorn and then now their value is plummeting by $3 million, I believe. But Swivel is expanding into the UK. I'm intrigued to see how that's going to work out. I feel like another prime example that we just completely forgot about is Bileben.
Yeah.
You know, now they're making like Labubu desserts and still hopping on the trend. But, you know, we saw how their founder, you know, he opened in so many cities, in so many countries, in Kuwait, the UAE, Saudi Arabia, Morocco, in so many countries, only for all of the stores to close down, supposedly because they didn't have the proper licenses in place, because they found pathogenic bacteria. They were using dyes they weren't meant to use. So I think in this case, it's nice to see that a company has a specific partner that is vouching for it, that is investing in it. In this specific case, do you remember what the Swedish company is called, Majid?
VNV.
Yeah, I believe this specific company over here, by the way, they were in a raising round with Breadfast, where I believe with another investor, they gave them over $20 million.
Nice.
So we're now seeing that that investment is definitely paying off. And I think with the Swedish company, I can't fault them, because at some point, this company is going to become even bigger.
Yeah.
They're taking over a market in Egypt that doesn't have that many competitors right now.
And I just saw they actually bake their own bread. So they control the whole supply chain from A to Z. So they bake their own bread and then deliver it to you. So that's fresher, because they don't have to go to someone and ask them to bake the bread. So that's one of the USPs. And then obviously, I was reading about it, and there is some theory called I think habit forming theory, where you make someone habitual of your product. It's like, I think washing, detergent, soaps, all these things, these are habits that we have, like in the kitchen, you'll always washing hands in the bathroom. So it's kind of that kind of a utility app. So bread, fresh, every day, and they focus mainly on the products which are everyday products, eggs, milk, all these things. So very nice idea, I think.
I think the bread
come
is
here
the
also
bread,
in the UAE.
Imagine, you know, this kind of reminded me of the way that Noon Minutes has its own Dubai viral chocolate version. It's called the Big Daddy, I
Big
believe.
Daddy. Now they have other versions
and it's
also.
like this is so smart, because now I'm realizing they basically capitalize on the most famous product in the country here. People love the Dubai Kunafa chocolate there. People love bread. But I think with Breadfast, what I am hoping to see one day for them is what happened to Snunu. I hope I'm saying the name right. Essentially, what happened to Snunu, Al-Hajri's company, is that it was acquired by Jahiz, the leading delivery platform in Saudi Arabia, for over $200 million. They acquired 70% of the company. Now Al-Hajri is still going to be leading the company's direction. Operations are not going to be disturbed whatsoever. But now Jahiz owns them. And so with Breadfast, I really do hope that they reach a point where they can have that kind of acquisition happen for them. It will certainly happen for them. It's exciting.
And the next story for today is from one of the biggest real estate groups, but it's not about the real estate ventures. The Damac Group has dismissed rumors about selling Roberto Cavalli, confirming their commitment to the luxury brand since acquiring it in 2019. They've invested significantly to support its growth.
So while not for sale, Damac is open to strategic partnerships to enhance Roberto Cavalli's business, aiming to strengthen their footprint in the high-end fashion globally.
And led by founder Hussein Sajwani, the Damac's 2019 acquisition marked a key step in diversifying their luxury portfolio, linking fashion with real estate and lifestyle projects.
And Damac plans to grow Roberto Cavalli's global presence via collaborations and lifestyle integration alongside luxury resorts and branded residences. Now, they also acquired the Swiss jeweler Di Grisagano in 2022, expanding their luxury holdings.
So it's a very important story, because they came out with the denial that, oh, there's stories going around that Damac is selling Roberto Cavalli, the brand itself. But they said, no, it's not happening. Obviously, they're looking for partnerships. If anyone wants to come in and join the partnership, good. Otherwise, not interested in selling it.
But like Majid, like let's talk about it. I honestly did not know that Damac owns Roberto Cavalli, let alone to be assuming that it's going for sale. And I think what this is telling you is that Damac is more than just a real estate venture.
Yeah.
It really is much more than that. You know, they didn't just acquire Roberto Cavalli and Di Grisagano, but they also have Edgenex by Damac. Now, what does Edgenex by Damac do? EdgeNex is essentially the company that is going to carry out Hussein Sajwani's $20 billion investment in US data centers in America. And it also has so many investments, by the way, around the globe.
Yeah.
So EdgeNex is a part of data centers in Riyadh. And it's also part of this, this facility in Madrid. And it's also part of a project in Jakarta, in Indonesia, Bangkok, in Thailand, Malaysia, and obviously a part of the US. So we can clearly see how far their expansion strategy goes. And I think with all businesses, this is the best strategy that you can do. It's to diversify. And I think with Hussein Sajwani, honestly, I find him really funny. Remember that forum that happened in the beginning of the year where he was like, you know, in the 2008 financial crisis, I couldn't pay my employees. And the
then
reason,
I found millions.
yeah, and he found $20 million in a forgotten bank account in Bahrain. And
I want that kind of an account also.
no, but at the same time, though, I remember during that time, like people were making fun of it, and they were like, "Wow, what a struggle!" But if you actually take a look at Sajwani's his background and how he was raised, I mean, it's so interesting. You know, his dad, he had a souk in Dera, and he was selling watches. And I think what I got from the piece that was written by Gulf News is the fact that his dad was very strict on work. Like imagine being Sajwani as a 3-year-old, you're taken to work. Do you want to be at work? No, you do not. You know, as a 3-year-old, do you even comprehend the world? You probably do not. Like imagine, do you even remember memories from when you were 3?
No.
Exactly. So the fact that his dad would make sure that he's at the watch shop, and his dad was the kind of person who would keep the watch shop running 24 hours a week, 7 days a week. So Sajwani comes from an extremely hardworking family. And you see it in all of his children. You see it in Amira, you see it in Ali. They're all doing their own projects. They're all spearheading the business in the best possible way. I mean, if I had children like that, let me tell you, I'd be retiring early. I'd be retiring, doesn't any father want children like that? I think it's great.
Yeah. There's a comment. A.E. Jaberi, I think he's from UAE. He's saying best morning routine. I don't know what you're talking about. Maybe you're saying our show is your best morning routine, or us doing the show is the best morning routine. We'll want more context on it. But yeah, talking about Hussein Sajwani, he's such a nice businessman that I've seen in the last year. Nice businessman, as in terms of business acumen, he has such a nice brain. Data centers, as soon as they became cool, he started investing in them. EdgeNex, I remember, we did a lot of stories on EdgeNex. And yeah, they're literally, and the funny thing is, when EdgeNex came, the very first story, if I remember correctly, it was the ASEAN region, the ASEAN region. The Thailand and Bangkok centers that you've talked about, they went there. Usually everyone is building them in here in UAE or America, the Stargate project and everything. Everyone is looking at those places. He built them there because he was like, okay, cheaper land, cheaper workforce, cheaper human capital, and I'll build it there. And then obviously he's doing the 20 billion thing with Mr. Trump in the US as well. But we also saw that one. Remember, as soon as that news came out, I remember correctly, you said, most probably he's building something in the US. Most probably. And as soon as that happened, they bought the land from auction. There was this land where a building collapsed and it was sold in auction, and he bought that land for very cheap. So he has a very nice idea of entering the market when the price is like good, not extravagant. And then he enters the market, builds something, and then obviously he makes money over it. So it's a very important skill to have, to know when to enter, which venture, which market. So you're not entering at a high point and then you start losing money.
But I think with Damac, I think their story is so interesting because Sajwani has a very clear trend of knowing how to swoop in when the price is low, and that's exactly what he did with Roberto Cavalli and the other brand. They both were not doing well. One of them was bankrupt, and Cavalli their sales were just not doing as well as they should. And I think I told you about this before, Majid. Obviously, it's not written in clear in the articles, but I remember I heard this rumor that basically the land at which Damac Hills 2 is in. I believe that this specific land was a gift from Dubai Holding to Tiger Woods.
Oh, yes.
And then at that time, Tiger Woods, who was going through a very intense divorce, was like, you know what, I need to sell
money.
something, I need to sell something, I need to get out of this. And I believe it was that land that he sold to Sejwani.
Yeah.
And right now, by the way, Damac Hills 2 is looking very beautiful.
Yeah.
They just built a new masjid there. I mean,
Nice.
the place, it's so scenic. By the way, I see gazelles there. No, I mean
Nice.
it. I see gazelles and they're running around. But then I also see this, I'm not sure what it's called, but you know the desert cat?
No, I don't know the names. I don't know the Arabic names,
If-
like the names of the
I
animals.
don't, I don't
just
know the
gazelle.
name either, but if you see them, you should run.
Oh,
You
nice.
should run.
They're scary.
You should no, they're not very friendly, but you should not be there. But yeah.
Yeah, but I just think it's a good thing that come out with the statement, wrapping it up. He's a very important businessman in the UAE landscape. We've seen, if you talk about the top 10 businessmen, I think he is there.
And he's so important to Donald
Khalaf
Trump.
Al-Habtoor, Mohammed Al-Abbar, Hussein Sajwani, who else can we name? A lot of businessmen who do private business. Then we have government leaders as well who are doing great. It's just good to have local people do something great, build money. He doubled
No,
his wealth.
I think what I like
I
with
remember in the
Sejwani is
last
that
year.
he does represent us in the global scene.
Yeah.
It's like now Americans know him too because him and Donald Trump are so close. The first ever Trump-branded golf course was by Damac Hills. I believe they're also building one in Qatar right now.
Yeah.
Right now, but I think with Sejwani, he has that skill of making sure that he has a very large network. And by the way, I think that he's been a billionaire for a while. He's
Yeah.
just making sure they're in the news now.
Yeah.
Because I looked back at old records and it's like with conferences that Sejwani has hosted, Donald Trump was there in 2014. That's
Nice.
how long their relationship has lasted. Like they've known each other for a while.
And yes, talking about a local startup, which is now a full-fledged company now. It still is called actually the Spotify of the Middle East. So Anghami, the Abu Dhabi-based music app, dubbed the Spotify of the Middle East, will execute a 1-for-10 reverse stock split on August 4. Just to explain it to you in very simple terms, if you want 10 stocks, they will be converted into one stock now. And this will help Anghami meet Nasdaq's $1 minimum share price rule and avoid delisting from Nasdaq Dubai without changing shareholder ownership percentages.
So despite making its first profit in late 2024 and cutting losses, Anghami's share price remains around 1 cent. So the company relies heavily on licenses from global music giants and OSN Plus, which poses risks if partnerships shift. Now alongside challenges from ad revenue decline and AI-generated music.
And Anghami's financial recovery depends on growing subscriptions, which is happening, which made up over 90% of revenue in late 2024. However, no 2025 results are yet available, leaving uncertainty. The company also faces rising royalty costs and increased competition from AI-driven music alternatives affecting user demand.
So founded in 2012 by Adi Maroon and Ilyas Habib, Anghami was the first MENA music streaming platform listed on Nasdaq in 2022 via SPAC merger. Now it operates across 16 MENA countries, serving 120 million registered users and 3.5 million paying subscribers as of end 2024. I remember I was sitting with one of my Jordanian friends in the car, Majid, and I was like, hey, can I play some music? And I opened her phone, and all she has is Anghami. And I'm like, what? Like, why do you just have Anghami? And she was like, I had Spotify. And then I noticed that the only music that I listen to is Arabic music. So I was like, what is the point? Let me cancel my Spotify subscription and enjoy Anghami with my family and my mother. Like, you would honestly not believe how important Anghami is to many people and how much it's actually used.
Yeah. But I think Anghami, the listing is good. They want to stay there. But to give you perspective that Anghami will do great. It's not a story of negativity that, oh, they're doing bad.
Yeah.
They are just restructuring. The reverse stock split is one of the things that you do. Everyone does it whenever they're facing problems. But to stay listed, they're doing it. But to give you perspective, now Anghami is doing great because the last numbers that we saw, they actually built up. They got their first profit last year. So in April 2024 last year, OSN Plus, we all know them now since we've done a lot of stories on them. They're majority owned by Kuwait's Kipco. They completed a merger with Anghami. So OSN, a very video platform, Anghami, a very audio platform, they merged. And 55% of the majority stake was bought by OSN at $3.69 per share, backed by an investment. It was nearly a $50 million in cash investment. And so you don't see them going away soon. It's not like, oh, Anghami is doing this, so there is a problem. It's actually them moving away from solely a music platform, and now they've incorporated video as well. So I think they will eventually survive. The last numbers that we saw are good. They're making profit. They've increased the number of subscribers. As we just said, the main 90% of the revenue came from subscriptions. One of your friends, people who pay Spotify, they can pay Anghami and listen to a long, big catalog of Arabic music.
Majid, isn't it interesting that this is happening just as Joe Kokabani has just stepped down as CEO? Like, you really have to wonder, like, what's going on in there? Did this person resign? Was there a target that was not met?
See, if you look at the whole picture from above, again, it's very important to look at it from that perspective. Recently, we also saw OSN combined with Warner Brothers. Warner Brothers bought a minority stake. Then Warner Brothers itself is breaking into three different parts: their channels, their digital platforms. And so you have to understand, it's just restructuring by literally everyone. It's not just Anghami suffering. It's not just some other company suffering, or not even suffering, getting affected due to restructuring. It's just that this is how things eventually will be. One of the very important points throughout the story was the AI-generated music thing, that now AI softwares...
I still can't believe that.
Yeah, they're so good that some people actually... I have a lot of friends who just listen to music. They don't want lyrics. They're very techno fans and all these people. So a lot of them, they just want music. AI can do that. Lyrics-wise, I think writing lyrics still is a problem. Making songs based on good lyrics is still maybe will take some 2-3 years to perfect. But when it comes to music, mixing everything, AI is nearly there to the highest levels of all the musicians that we can think of. So AI is not just eating our jobs, writers' jobs, creatives' job. They're also eating a music producer, director's job as well.
They're also eating up models' jobs. Did you see that entire scandal with Vogue? How they had this new magazine that came out, and they were using AI models.
Yeah. And you don't have to pay them, they're free.
That is horrifying. Do you know how much the model industry is worth? How much these models get paid?
Billions at least.
For the jobs that they do? I mean, I truly felt so disturbed by it, because that could really destroy everything.
See, when it comes to cost cutting by big companies, I think the biggest expenditure when it comes to these companies who hire models, actors, whatever, even the marketing industry, PR industry. I was recently looking at an ad and it was so interesting. Hats off to whoever came up with the idea. It was a trading platform and the ad was a chair in front of you, the whole camera set up for a celebrity to appear. Throughout the 30 seconds, the celebrity did not appear. And the ad starts with, we were thinking about who to get for this blah 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 trading platform to market it, and you get stuck to it. Like, okay, he will come, he will make a surprise appearance, she will make a surprise appearance. The 30 seconds they were like, no, we don't need someone. Why? Because trading people who are actually our target market, they don't need someone endorsing. They need the numbers, they need the stats to look at how trading is done and what is good for their trading. I was like, and completely AI generated again, the whole ad. So it was a 30-second ad. Maybe they made it in splits of 3 to 4 parts, because as we know, AI softwares, they're doing 10-second, 8-second videos. We experiment a lot with them. Our editors, Ujjwal, Kashif, all these guys, they keep experimenting with AI video editing. all of them, they're making 8 to 10 second videos.
But
So you
Majid,
can just take 3 clips, make the prompt, make 3 clips from AI and just put it out. No lighting cost, no venue cost, no actor cost, no this cost, no that cost. If it's $100,000 campaign, you're literally saving 99,000, just paying $1,000 for the subscription of that AI software. So it is going to affect a lot of industries. It already has affected a lot of industries. We talked about it, Microsoft, Google, a lot of them. They're saying clearly, Google, I remember, what's the guy name, the Indian guy? He said that we're nearly getting rid of 50% of our software developers for basic coding.
But you know, Majid, I do think with this Vogue thing, they're probably like at the bottom of the barrel of all of this. Because think about it, right? Us writers, okay, yes, you can make AI write something, but in the end of the day, it does require that angle. It does require that reporting that, you know, an AI chatbot is not going to go speak to people and discover stories. So we're lucky in that sense. But with those models, not only is this replacing the models' jobs, it's replacing the graphic designers' jobs. It's replacing all those photographers' jobs. There are so many people involved in this process that all just go away. And did you see that LinkedIn post that Rich sent today? The one about how, like, whatever companies are researching on their ChatGPTs, it's being exposed. And in a Google search, basically someone found something that says, what's it called? Dubai Mall marketing strategy.
To increase number of visitors from 150,000
and this is
year
probably
to
clearly this is somebody a part of their staff, and you can actually you can see what people's prompts are, and this is horrifying. Like, where is the privacy? Like, whatever your company is doing is just going to be absolutely exposed.
You have to understand that whatever these LLMs has been trained on, whatever, it was on the internet. So your search queries on Google, I'll give you a very small example. Even before AI, when you go to Google, you start writing something, it starts suggesting questions to you, right? Oh, how do you? And then it starts suggesting like 5 different things. Even before AI, Google knew what you were searching for. So whatever was the most searched thing, they'll start suggesting it to you. So even before AI and all the privacy issues that we see because of AI, it was being done. It wasn't just so prominent, and it was helpful to an extent. Where sometimes you're actually asking a question that 1 million people had already asked. Oh, what happened to this? What's happening to the Dubai Mall right now, Dubai Fountain right now? 100,000 people would have asked it. So as soon as you start writing what happened to Dubai, it will start suggesting Dubai Fountain, Dubai Mall, Dubai.
Dubai
So
Mall
it was actually
strategy.
helpful. You didn't have to type all of it. Like, okay, this one, this question I was going to ask. So it was being done. Now it's a problem because all of them, nearly all of them, have been trained on scraped data from the internet. So your Reddit profiles, whatever you're writing there, is being scraped to get knowledge. Even if you go to medical platforms and ask for your problems, that is being scraped. You go literally anywhere. Your social profiles, they're being scraped. You know, we did recently, right? You just ask about yourself and it pulls up a LinkedIn post about you, your LinkedIn profile, and be like, oh, this guy works at this place, So I know LinkedIn is a very public place where you actually market yourself to get a job. But for anyone right now, it's very easy to know about you because of your LinkedIn profile, even if you don't connect with them. I think the idea of connecting with someone has lost its meaning.
Stalking on LinkedIn is so much funner than Instagram. But you can find out so much.
But if you want to connect with someone, you don't need to now. You can just Google their information, and somehow these LLMs have scraped so much data that they'll pick up their information, the numbers, the emails, if they're publicly listed anywhere. So it's very interesting. The privacy issues are there. This whole fiasco where your prompts are now part of the Google search, it will become a problem. Thankfully, right now, it's not telling who asked this or which account was doing this. It's just telling your prompts. So if you're asking weird questions to these LLMs, stop. Because they're public now. From what we see, we'll obviously do a deeper dive into it and see if it's actually happening, and try to find OpenAI's or anyone's response. But yes, moving on to our last story of the day. It's again a sad story. We try to cover the genocide in Gaza as much as possible, but we try to keep a business angle. So this time it's a very big business angle. Two Senate resolutions led by Senator Bernie Sanders to block $675 million. I'll repeat it again. $675 million in arms sales to Israel were rejected Wednesday with votes of 73 to 24 and 70 to 27. So 70 people said yes, send arms to Israel for how many dollars? $675 million. So this was happening in the US Senate. Yet these efforts gained more Democratic support than similar attempts earlier this year. Last time I remember the vote was 10 to 80. So it was really bad at that point. They were all in favor of sending
I don't even
arms.
think it's that much of a difference, you know?
Yeah. So yeah.
And the vote reflects growing unease in Washington over the Gaza civilian toll, over 60,000 lives lost amid Israel's genocide. Now, despite bipartisan
Yeah.
backing for Israel, more Democrats now question ongoing military
Yeah.
aid as global pressure mounts for Palestinian state recognition.
And Senator Bernie Sanders called the increased Democratic support a sign the tide is turning. He just gained like 10, 12 more votes, but he still thinks that even one person saying it's bad is actually meaningful right now. Lawmakers like Jane Shaheen, and they changed their stance. He was one of the guys who said no, send arms to Israel, but now he's changed it. He's like, no, don't send arms to Israel because there's so many civilian casualties happening because of the weapons that we send to Israel. So he also cited the humanitarian law breaches that are happening throughout the genocide in Gaza. And also with the UN General Assembly in September, calls to restrict arms sales and recognize Palestine as a state are likely to grow.
So the failed resolutions highlight the deepening political debate as the Gaza genocide becomes worse. However, you know, when I think about all of this, you know, just to point out, if you actually go to the White House official website, they themselves will tell you that since Trump has come into power once again, they have given $12 billion to Israel in arms sale.
Yeah.
And it's very horrifying because you wonder how is it that they continue to commit such actions and they get so much money. They get so much taxpayer money from America. And it's like, I know that a lot of people have called Tucker Carlson crazy for this, but did you see how he claimed that Israel was working with Epstein, Jeffrey Epstein?
Yeah.
And it's like, you have to wonder, does Trump allow this to happen because he's an old man and he's not thinking very clearly? Or is it because he's threatened by some kind of source that's like, I will release those files if you don't give us money? Like, I don't really know what to think here, to be honest, because the pictures are there, the evidence is there. They did call it the most documented genocide in history. So this just makes absolutely no sense. I think that these numbers are important because they clearly tell you who is the clear perpetuator of all of this.
Yeah. The main thing is, as you talked about Trump being influenced in Epstein files, it's not just that. Business-wise, the military-industrial complex of the U.S. is very famous. Just go write military-industrial complex. You'll get 1,000 books on it. There's literature over literature over literature about how they control who becomes the president, how they control who is the guy who gives them good policies, who takes the tax away from them, who makes all the businesses grow. So I gave you one example. I remember I showed you Palantir Technologies stock price from $30 to 180-ish right now. That's one. There's so many military companies in the US right now whose stocks have skyrocketed, literally 10 times, they've like multiplied 10 times over the last 2 years. Why? Because those are the guys who make the weapons that the US sells to Israel. And mind you, this is not like, oh, I pay you 10 dirhams and you give me a gun. These are delayed payments over like 3 years, 4 years, 5 years. It's not just like, oh, give me the money and take the weapons. It's not. So actually US is doing a favor to Israel by selling them weapons. And then also on the weapons, there's so many, it's like a sale. To make it easy for you to understand, it's like a sale. We'll give you 20% discount on the weapons if I sell this rifle for $200. I'll give it to you for $150. So US supports all the arms that go to Israel. It's not just US. It's the whole West. It's Europe. It's UK. Their parliament. Every day you see a video, one of their parliamentarians saying that we shouldn't sell arms to Israel. It's France. They're the first country in Europe, I remember, who are ready to say that Palestine is a state in September, that the UN General Assembly, that is going to happen. But again, they're also selling arms to Israel. So when it comes to business, they're ready to do business with Israel. But thankfully, to be honest,
I think very recently
even with the bare minimum.
The UK, very recently, they just cut off trade, I believe. No, they did not cut it off.
They just
announced.
said they will cut off trade. That's the thing. Everyone is saying, if Israel doesn't stop, then we'll do this. If Israel, no one actually has done it. Apart from the 4 countries that we talked about, UK, Netherlands, New Zealand, and another one, they froze the assets of 2 ministers. Apart from that, nationwide protest, I think Ireland is the best example. They've done it. Norway is one of the best examples. Not Norway, sorry. One of the Scandinavian countries. They've actually abolished all their trade.
Yeah.
So apart from them, no one is actually doing anything. They're just, how do you say it, politically posing themselves.
And this is what I wanted to mention. Like, I keep thinking about this. Remember that reconstruction plan that I covered a while ago? The $53 billion reconstruction plan.
We don't know anything about it.
President El-Sisi called in this like emergency summit in Cairo, I believe, and he invited a lot of state officials from other Arab countries. I believe Qatar's prime minister was there, and they basically met together. And they said, okay, we're going to give forward $53 billion to reconstruct Gaza. It was a 3-phase plan. There was a lot that went into it. But I had remembered that the BBC specifically said, however, when this funding is coming or how it's coming, the numbers, nobody really knows because these leaders are very hesitant to do so. And it's like the complete mention of the entire project just fizzled out, disappeared. And it's like, this is why the news is so confusing.
I think it can only matter when everything stops happening. If it doesn't stop, if Israel doesn't stop bombing the places, how can you reconstruct? You build a bridge, the next day they'll bomb it. You build a hospital, they'll bomb it. You build anything, they'll bomb it. So right now, the very first thing that needs to happen is them stopping. And that is one of the problems that everyone is facing. The last statement, the very recent statement, again from Mr. Trump, yesterday Canada said that we are also in line to accept Palestine as a state. So a lot of people are doing that now, by the way. There's been 4 or 5 countries who've said. A lot of them, funnily, there's like 30 plus countries who actually even now recognize Palestine as a state. But 4 or 5 European big names, UK, etc., and Canada now, they did it. And Mr. Trump's comment was, okay, we are going to tax Canada. Trump's tariffs are going to start today, August 1. All the people who haven't made a deal with him, they're going to be taxed the amount that was announced in April, 30, 40, 50%. India is getting 35%. Canada is getting 35%. So he was like, okay, maybe I'll raise it. Because Canada is now going to accept Palestine as a state, so I'll raise the tariffs. How is that related? So you can't just even make sense of it. So let's see what happens.
I hope we've left you guys with a lot to reflect on during the weekend. That's a wrap for today. Thank you so much for tuning into the Smashi Business Show. Make sure to follow us across all of our social media channels at Smashi Business and stay ahead with our daily newsletter. You'll find the subscription link in the description.
This has been the Smashi Business Show, Smashi Business production, part of the Augustus Media Podcast Network. A big shout out to our 2.6 million monthly listeners. Again, morning update. Thanks so much for making it possible. If you're one of them, we really, really, really appreciate all the people who comment, give us feedback. We love you guys. Have a great, great, great weekend. Enjoy time with your family. Go to nice SeaWorld places. Go to Yas Island. That's my go-to place whenever I have something planned for the weekend. Thank you very much. Have a great, great, great weekend. Bye-bye.